Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome to today's Bible study. We shall be going through the book of 2 Samuel chapter 16 verses 5 to 14, where we'll find an ordinary man by the name Shimei is courageous enough to curse King David, but not only that, but also to throw stones at him. Yes, and I will just tell you this story and I will show you how King David was able to just focus on God. He was able to just, mute out everything that was happening around him and just focus on God. So yeah, let's begin. Shimei was from the house of Saul. He was the son of Gera, and we know that Saul was jealous of King David, unfortunately, and he had tried like a gazillion times to kill him, but he failed. So Shimei is actually talking to King David from his own point of view. He doesn't care what has happened to King David. He knows what he has done, and he doesn't, he's like, yeah, you have done something wrong, and the reason why I'm throwing stones at you is because when you're convicted of murder, when you're convicted of adultery, you will be penalized. The penalty is death, and death by stoning. That's why he's throwing stones at King David. And he tells King David, come out, you bloodthirsty man, you rogue. The Lord has brought upon you all the blood of the house of Saul, in whose place you have reigned, and the Lord has delivered the kingdom into the hand of Absalom, his son. So now you are caught in your own evil because you are a bloodthirsty man. Maybe his accusations were true, because we know that King David was a warrior. Yes, he had killed so many people, he had won so many wars and everything, but God had also called him that, but he didn't call him a murderer. He didn't call him necessarily bloodthirsty. He called him a warrior, and that is one of the reasons why he didn't construct the temple at Jerusalem. He just assembled the materials, and later on his son Solomon was able to construct the temple in Jerusalem. And when Shimei is saying all of this, he is referring to the death of Abner. Abner was let's just say like he was very loyal to Saul, but then when Saul died, his son Ishbosheth took over Israel, the kingdom of Israel, for about 2 years, and then after that he kind of switched his allegiance to David, but later on he died in the hands of Joab, one of the people who are close to David. And also Ishbosheth died because of his 2 men who are commanding his armies and everything. They actually killed him in the middle of the day when he was asleep. And the similarity between those 2 groups is that when Abner and when Ishbosheth died, the messengers ran to David telling him that, you know what, Abner is dead, Ishbosheth is dead, something like that. But David was angry because, these men are innocent, so there's no point in which you should kill them. And also, Shimei is referring to the story of Uriah, King David and Bathsheba. And what King David did was that he placed Uriah like at the front line in a war, and that wasn't his specialty. He was placed there and he didn't necessarily know what to do, so within like 5 seconds he was dead, because he was at the front line. And then this happened because King David had committed adultery with Bathsheba, so like he just wanted to get rid of any suspicion, something like that. So it's like, you know what, so that he can have Bathsheba, let me just kill Uriah. And that wasn't very wise of him. And Prophet Nathan was sent by God. Let's just read 2 Samuel chapter 12 verse 10. It tells us, now therefore the sword shall never depart from your house, because you have despised me and have taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be your wife. This is what this is how it is being brought about. Absalom, his son, is trying to overthrow him, and yeah, that whatever he did, what he did has actually caused all of this. Yes, he sinned, and yes, God forgave him, but you know what, he cannot avoid the consequences. It doesn't matter if he's the king, he will not avoid the consequences. And then now we move on to verse 9. Verse 9 shows us how one of his servants reacted to that situation. Instead of responding, he reacted. And before I continue, I just want us to understand the difference between reaction and responding. When you react, it is like how can I say this? It is survival oriented. It's like defense. But when you respond, it is based on information from both the conscious and unconscious mind. And yeah, you can say that reaction is basically just emotional. But when you respond, you're being emotionally intelligent, because reactions are caused by positive or negative outcomes, but response are engineered. A response is engineered to bring about a positive or a negative outcome. So Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, reacted. What did he say? He said, "Why should this dead dog cause my lord the king? Curse the Lord my king, sorry. Please let me go over and take off his head." He reacted. He was like, oh my goodness, this guy, like he's loyal to the king, and this random guy over here is just throwing stones at the king, just like, but no, he's not supposed to do that. And King David actually, after this, King David is like, you know what, cool down. Let's just breathe in and then we relax and we just let him be. Let's just read verse 10. It says, "What have I to do with you, you sons of Zeruiah? So let him curse, because the Lord has said to him, curse David. Who then shall say, why have I done so? Why have you done so?" David understands that this is not physical. This may be spiritual. He understands that maybe God told him not to curse him. And who is he to, if he decided to behead Shimei at that moment, so yes, he has beheaded him, and then what? David was focusing on God. He was focusing on God. He wasn't focusing around, that pressure like around him, because his ego had been insulted in a way, and people are looking at him like, oh my goodness, what will the king do? That's treason and everything. No. He was like, okay, you just curse me. And then let's just continue to read verse 11 and verse 12. And verse 12 is actually my favorite. "And David said to Abishai and all his servants, see how my son who came from my own body seeks my life. How much more now may this Benjamite? Let him alone and let him pass, for so the Lord has ordered him. It may be that the Lord will look on my affliction, and that the Lord will repay me with good for his cursing this day." Let's just go back to verse 10, where he says Absalom has, is trying to overthrow him. And yes, it's true. And let's just go back like a few chapters behind in 2 Samuel. And when King David had moved to Hebron, he got his firstborn son, and his name was Amnon. Amnon fell in love with Tamar. Like, she was so beautiful, and Amnon was so frustrated. He was like, oh my goodness, I can't have her to my wife because it's illegal. And Amnon decided, you know what, let me just fake as if, let me just fake that I'm sick. And Tamar was like, my brother is sick, let me just go and help him because I'm a good sister. But then Amnon had something else in mind. He decided to rape her. And according to Absalom, he wasn't punished enough because his sister was disgraced. He wasn't punished enough. So a few years later, he decided, you know what, it's about time I killed him. So yes, he killed Amnon, and then he fled. And when he fled from Israel, he stayed a few years out, and then finally King David forgave him and he came back. But then this guy didn't even stay for a long time in Israel before he tried to overthrow his father. You know what he did? He whenever people would come into the palace, he would just stand outside, and then he would just try to gain favor in their eyes. He would be like, you know what, if I'm king, these problems won't be here, like I'll do this, do that. It was like a campaign at that time for him. And then finally word got to David, but at that time Absalom he was far away from home, and he had actually conquered the town that he was staying at that time. So word got back to David, and that's actually why David escaped Jerusalem, because he heard that Absalom was coming to get his throne. And how will you get King David's throne? You will get it not by just tying him up and just throwing him in the dungeon. No, get it by killing him. So yes, he did run away from Jerusalem. Then in verse 12, King David actually recognizes that, you know what, I'm looking at God, and God will see how this person has done me so badly, and he says that it may be that the Lord will look on my affliction, and that the Lord will repay me with good for his cursing this day. David looked at God. He did not look at Shimei, he did not look at his son, he did not look at Abishai, no, he looked at God. And what God says is what matters, not what men say. We're not fighting with men, we're not fighting with principalities, we're living above the demons. We are not on the same standard, we're not on the same level, we are above them. We are children of God. Okay? So yes, that was today's Bible study. Focus on God. And if you're wondering how Absalom died, he actually died. He was riding his horse, and then his tree, he was riding a horse, and then his head got stuck in a tree. Yeah, and then one of David's servants found him, but then they didn't report to David. Instead, he went to Joab, and Joab was like, "Come on, this guy is just hanging in a tree. Why didn't you kill him?" So yeah, Joab went, and then he just pierced him 3 times, and then that's actually how he died. And for Shimei, later on, when Absalom had died, and it had occurred to him that, his son David's son hadn't taken over the throne, he just went before David and was like, "I understand if you want to kill me, and it's okay, what I did was wrong." But David was like, "You know what, today you shall live, just go on." So yeah, focus on God. When you focus on God, things will go well for you, because you know what, Philippians chapter 1 verse 6, it says that the God who brought you to this world and gave you a mission, he shall bring it to completion. Amen. Amen. Thank you so much. If you loved this Bible study session, please make sure that you subscribe and hit that notification bell. And if you have any suggestion of any verse or any song that you'd like us to sing, please share it in the comment section down below. Have an amazing day.